Welcome to Ukraine Update with the Shills, the show where Russian propaganda gets wrecked, fascists get roasted, and freedom gets the last word. Hope your week's been better than the dignity of Muscovites crawling through a sewer pipe to reenact an op where 800 orcs got vaporized. After centuries without plumbing, they finally figured out what a sewer's for themselves. Meanwhile, back in America's own absurdist spinoff, the Trump administration just slapped tariffs on an island full of penguins, apparently because he thinks they're mocking his hair. So, to the Greenlandic penguins, I'd quit laughing. He's coming for your ice and whatever minerals he can. Google. So, I'm Slavi, your new co-host. Welcome to Ukraine Update, and let's say hello to the panel. Hi, Dick. How's it going in the great white north?
It's going okay. I mean, it's tariff season, and they be out in force. We're hunting them down. We're doing the best I can. But I mean, you know, when you got a six-pack in one hand and a shotgun in the other, you can only hit so many at once. But we're giving it our best up here.
Well, I wish I was in Canada. I decided I'm going to suck up to Canada these days.
Come on up. It's great. You know, it's nice.
Let's say hello.
The water's fine.
Yeah. Commander Macmillan, how are you?
Not too bad. The pain is in my leg from the operation is kind of under control right now. We'll see how long that lasts.
Well, I hope that pain goes away soon.
Yeah.
That's the irony of getting bionics. They hurt.
Yes,
but they're supposed to help.
And we have Claire from Car4Ukraine. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me, Slavi and Dick. And we're in a world of trouble down here. We've got some very large neighbours, the size of Greenland, Heard Island, McDonald Island, Christmas Island, and Norfolk Island. And not only the penguins are in trouble, the red crabs are leaving Christmas Island, as they do every year, though. Oh. And the bounty mutineers, who are still the existent families on Norfolk Island and dominate the population there, which is very small, and I think they export something like green leaves. They're taking out muskets. So we're in a big lot of trouble. These are actually really tiny little blocks of land that exist in the oceans down south with me. Penguins are our local guys. You know, penguins are in Sydney Harbour. They nest in Sydney Harbour at Manly and surrounds. Not that type of penguin, a little scary penguin, not that pop penguin.
That's a trumper.
That's a Trump penguin, yeah.
You don't actually have penguins up in the north. So I'm one of the rare people that can actually say, these are our guys that are under attack.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We have puffins in the north.
Yeah.
They're an Antarctic creature and the Antarctic waters. So but they also, the littler penguins, the fairy penguins, nest as far north as Sydney.
Ah.
So the islands he's talking about, Heard and McDonald, are really tiny little nature reserves that are dedicated just to penguins. You're not allowed to live there.
Okay. So why
even Americans not allowed to live there?
Yeah, why would anybody do this then? Like, it makes no sense to anyone.
No, well, one of my
because
go McMillan.
Because they all have individual internet domain names. I'm serious. That's why you have a tariff that was placed on the UK and a different set of tariffs placed on Gibraltar, even though Gibraltar is part of the UK.
Right.
Or Diego Garcia, which is a tiny island in the middle of the Indian Ocean, which is just basically a US and British base, military base. Doesn't have a civilian population, but it has its own domain name. So essentially what happened is some doofus in the administration who are all the people out there? How much can we tax them? And they ran it through some algorithm that they got off of
ChatGPT.
Chat GPT, and it threw together data, and that's what they put out there. It shows how lazy and
Sure.
stupid they are. That's
Well,
the key, the laziness.
It's all based on our email address. Go
Yeah.
on.
Before we get Ivan in here, I just want to show you, we have been doing our homework in the background here at the Shills, and we can share with you now the first public picture of Elon's boy Big Balls. That's him right there. Hard at work, man. Hard at work. Ivan, how's it going? Welcome.
Hello, guys. Yeah, we are alive. Crazy time, but all good. How you guys?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Crazy time doesn't even begin to. We could talk about crazy times until tomorrow at this time and do a 24-hour stream. We couldn't cover it all.
Yeah.
My son would kill me, but you know. 1 second here.
So just to explain more about the penguin issue, somebody said to me that it's about the export of the Patagonian toothfish that they fishermen catch around the islands of Heard and McDonald, and that possibly that's what they're after. That they've heard that Patagonian toothfish come from those areas, so that's why they're tariffing them. But it's not actually the people of those islands, because there are no people on those islands. They're not allowed. Nobody's allowed to live there because they're nature reserves.
Yeah. Do they think this tooth is like a aphrodisiac that will improve the sex lives of limp dick Republicans or something? What's the problem here? You know,
The tooth. Patagonian toothfish, Dick. Get with the whole.
well,
Oh,
something,
no.
you know.
I can say it. You can say it.
Well, it's been proven around here that I can't get my tongue around everything. That's for sure.
Oh my God.
Where do y'all want to start? What should we do here, Slavy? What do you think?
Well, let's go to the biggest story that despite ongoing ceasefire negotiations, Russia has intensified its military actions against Ukraine, blatantly violating the terms of a recently brokered ceasefire agreement. On April 4th, a Russian missile strike targeted residential areas in Kryvyi Rih, which is President Zelensky's hometown. The attack resulted in the deaths of at least 19 people, including 9 children, and injured over 60 others. The missile struck near a playground. President Zelensky condemned the attack, stating, "People die every day. There's only one reason why this continues, and Russia does not want a ceasefire." And
That's right.
we can definitely tell. So,
Yeah, I mean, we've heard over and over, Commander, on there's no intentional civilian targets, yada yada, blah blah. There's no way in hell this is accidental. Absolutely not. It's Zelensky's hometown. This is absolutely on purpose. Agreed?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, you can expect a degree of collateral damage, particularly with the Russian systems, because they're not anywhere near as accurate as Western systems. But the consistency with which their ordnance are hitting non-valid military or non-military targets, non-valid targets, is pretty obvious that they're deliberately targeting those places.
Agreed.
Oh,
Agreed.
yeah. But it's Ukraine's fault, of course.
Oh, if you hadn't built the hospital where that bomb fell, this wouldn't have happened.
Exactly.
And all
right?
the military were gathering in the playground, swinging on the swings, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how I read it too. Exactly.
You forced the
Disgusting.
kids out into the playground just as the missile was coming in. That's not our fault.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we can-
also, there's a new offensive starting. There's definitely been information on that, and I don't know how that indicates all towards peace. It's like it's insane to me, but we have Marco Rubio that actually stated that the United States will assess Russia's commitment I don't know what commitment, to a peace deal in Ukraine within the coming weeks. He emphasized that President Trump will not engage in endless negotiations about negotiations if process lacks genuine progress. No progress there. And he also said,
I want you to translate that phrase that you just said into actual English. I'm not going to talk about talking.
Yeah.
That's what he just said. It's so dumb.
Yeah.
That was a quote too. I
know.
Yeah.
It's one of those moments where you're reading it and you're like, is this wrong? No, that's what and it confuses you. It's hard to read, right? You know?
It's Orwellian doublespeak.
Yeah. It drives you crazy. I mean, anybody who's paying attention at all to anything that Russia has been about since Putin took over knows that this is all just a complete waste of time. The only thing Putin is going to accept is, I get everything, nobody else gets a damn thing, and I'm just going to take a rest and then keep going after, because that's all that's going to happen unless he's dealt with properly. Fact.
Yeah. No, his idea, and honestly, let's be fair here, Trump's idea of deal making is, you give me everything I want and I won't give you anything.
Yeah.
How's that for a deal? Isn't that great? Yeah.
Wow.
Well, isn't that the same as the Putin deal?
Yeah, pretty much, right? You know, I don't.
You give me everything and I'll stop killing you.
Yeah. It's like the school bully saying, I know you have more money in the bank. I'm not going to stop punching you in the face until I get it all,
Yeah, that's it.
And with regards to the offensive that we can see from all the intelligence indicators of more troops and equipment being massed at the front and supplies being pushed up, everybody's saying that what that is for is so that when or if a ceasefire gets negotiated or imposed, they will have seized the maximum amount of stuff they can before that happens.
Yeah.
So that they can present everybody with a fait accompli of, well, we already have it, so it's ours. You can't take it.
Right.
No, it's also to strengthen its position in potential peace talks with Ukraine. So, but they don't want to stop the war.
Yeah, so they're doing a big fast push, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last big grasp, the last big grab, right?
But that's been going on for a while.
It's like in World War I, they were still launching attacks on Armistice Day. It wasn't going to change anything.
Right.
People were just dying at the last minute because the politicians back in the gilded halls were just happy to do whatever they thought they needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what we got going on in some ways.
But we can't have it both ways. If they're doing a big push because they expect there to be a ceasefire, then we have to accept that there might be a ceasefire, which doesn't make sense.
Mm.
I suspect that if you read between the lines, what's really going on is they are beginning to realize that their forces are growing closer and closer to a point where they are going to be incapable of doing anything.
Mm.
We have situations where, they're sending troops to the front in wheelchairs to lead attacks in wheelchairs or on powered scooters.
Donkeys.
Yeah. They're down to the point where they're pulling out museum piece artillery because they've lost so much artillery during the course of the war.
Yeah.
I don't know if you follow Professor Curtis's thing where he shows, if you look at this many tanks, this many armored personnel carriers, etc., the largest material loss that the Russians have suffered through the course of the war is to artillery systems.
Mm.
Yeah.
But also, I did read that right now they're having no problem in mobilizing.
Oh, yeah. Bodies,
Wow.
they got plenty of them.
Yeah.
At this point, I can't imagine, like myself or anybody I've ever known in life wanting to sign up to that hamburger helper.
Oh, no. They're not signing up.
Oh, okay.
Don't fool yourself there.
Okay. These are roundups.
It's literally going to the retirement community and finding the guy who's, in a wheelchair, but can still use his hands. Yep. You're going to go into the attack, son.
Wow.
I mean, they're literally dragging anybody off the street.
They're also in a wartime economy. That's why they can't really stop the war, because then Russia will fall apart. And so the war needs to keep going economically. But they're also making a lot of their population in insane debts. So the only way to repay these debts is to go to war.
Right. To keep it flowing.
And then you even get it worse, because they're supposed to be paying death gratuities if your husband, son, whatever, gets killed at the front. That's one of the reasons they're not sending bodies back. They're not reporting deaths, because those people are missing. They're not dead.
That's right. We don't have to pay you anything then. You don't get a ham.
He deserted. We don't owe you any money.
Yeah.
There was a podcast that a Russian podcast that United 24 posted, and it was between these two Russian prostitutes doing a podcast, and they were just talking like it's normal. Like how if you want to buy an apartment, how do you buy an apartment? And then the other prostitute goes, well, you get a man, then he goes to war, he dies, and you get an apartment, you get the money for the apartment. They were just openly two girlfriends sitting there, the podcast setting, saying things like that, completely normally.
That's what us women do. We're mercenary women. We want the money, not the body, in the bed. Get that body out of the bed as quickly as you can, so I can get the house. With regard the wheelchairs, aren't they using people like that to attract fire? They're actually, literally suicide squads that are attracting fire so that the soldiers behind can see where the fire is coming from and then target that. Isn't that what they're used for?
Wow.
No, because obviously they're not running across the field to attack some trench.
Well,
where the soldier is in the trench for somebody else to kill.
Or if you had a regiment full of people in wheelchairs, they'd be great for clearing out a minefield. I mean,
yeah, send them ahead.
Trust me, they've done that.
How horrific, man.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. Clearing minefields by just marching penal battalions across the field.
Wow. Holy.
That goes back to World War.
What's a penal battalion?
Criminals. Jails.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was
Penal,
not that other word, Slavi. Not that other word.
Battalion.
Get your mind out of the bedroom.
Yeah.
If you were a bad person, you get sent to a penalty or penal.
Colony.
Yeah,
like a penal colony.
Like the
PENAL. Just
the penguins live in a penal colony on
That's funny. Oh man, that's funny. Speaking of, here, let me just see if I can get this
penal colony,
come up.
like Australia.
Yeah.
We're all criminals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The actual the bounty mutineers who are
you're criminals, and we're religious fanatics who were kicked out because nobody liked us.
And
you still are.
Yeah, no shit. Not all of us, but too many.
Did you guys see on social media today, Elon Musk updated his profile picture?
Not for real.
Oh, finally.
Isn't that something to do with Lent, where they put a little
Ash Wednesday or something?
The
right?
Catholics do a cross, and the white supremacists do a swastika.
It's just balancing the books, I guess, right?
So, Ivan, how are you? And you did the 600th vehicle today.
Yeah, but before I jump into that, I just wanted to, I don't know if anyone noticed, Slavi changed her appearance.
Yeah, we
She
did.
looks very nice. I don't know if
you.
anyone said anything about it, but that's really cool.
My hair is just bigger and poofier today, but thank you so much for noticing and saying it.
It's very, it's sometimes it's awkward when you say something like that, and like, oh, what changed, And she's like, I just washed my hair.
Yeah. Had a
Oh,
shower.
no, I guess I usually, because
Sometimes.
I have my backgrounds and I wear my hair slicked back because it just works better with the backgrounds. But today I can do
I
a
think something with
well.
eyes as well, something different.
That's
No?
for
They
makeup.
look with- no, I think
It's for good makeup.
I don't know.
highlights
It's very
things.
elegant, very
Yeah, very elegant. Yeah. I mean,
very
yeah.
retro with the neck piece as well.
Wait, Slava, you gotta get a spotlight over there so when this happens, you can turn that on, here.
Ravi's used to that. She likes the spotlight.
Yeah. So yes, I've got the Car for Ukraine video up that was just released a couple hours ago there, and we could play in the background as we're talking about deliveries and stuff as well.
Yeah, well, I'd love to hear how it went with the 600th car, and which I've just woken up, so I haven't had the chance to have a look at any of it.
Yeah, the 600th one is going to be the Boom Boom, the rocket launcher. We like that. It's an efficient thing. It looks cool. It does cool job. Yeah, we had this campaign with Ukraine Matters earlier. They raised money for 25, I think actually 26 cars.
Nice.
And yeah, we just now fill up the gaps where we see the most need.
Awesome.
That one is Boom Boom. That one is a solid. But besides that, we also had one of them was these guys from the Netherlands. They traveled that was a funny thing. They used all of the transportations available by humankind within 24 hours. In
Wow.
Amsterdam, they cycled to the subway. They used the subway to go to airport. They flew to London. Then they took the trucks. They went to the port. They went on a ferry, so they used the ship to get back to Amsterdam, and then they drove the car to Ukraine. And one of the trucks was was from them. There's also one from the Easter Pisanki trucks basket. Mercado Media has almost got all the full amount, but the need is out there. We cannot wait until we get every euro. We just let's go for it. So one of them went to HUR, the main intelligence directorate. So it's the tough guys. And that one was, I think it's the one on the right side. It will be probably later visible. But yeah, that one is the first. Oh, there will be the next one. Will be fun. You'll see it in a moment.
Okay.
There's just a little I called it a offline donor wall. So people, but wait, it's just a little later. You'll see that. There you go. Now you're gonna see that. I think it will be bigger. Wait a moment. Here it comes.
Who's holding the camera?
There you go.
Hey, Aussies.
Awesome.
That's from Australia. I think that was I don't know, Claire. That was your donation, right? If I'm not mistaken.
From local people, yeah.
So there was some local people that together with you or when?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Because I remember we had this thing that they decided that they will help with this truck carrier, and then after that, that's it. But
oh well, the war goes on, the interest remains. But
nice. Okay.
Yes, not so much because the truck carrier was a big one.
Yeah. So that one, okay. So that one was that Claire has contributed with her community, and we put that great kangaroo that is kicking Russia's asses. And actually, there's another thing that is kicking Russian asses. That's a Dutch woman that is putting back the Russian, putting back the Russians where they are coming from. That one is a beautiful, the one from that we raised with Ukraine Matters, and that one is going to become the the rocket launcher, the boom boom.
I like that.
We're gonna we have an idea. We want to get not one but 3 or 4 or 5 boom boom. Oh, there you go. That's a good thing.
Cool.
Thurs sent us a present, and we didn't put it on a truck, so we had to make this funny cut. This
Who's
cut
that
in.
eating the
Video.
chocolate?
That's actually Oksana. That's the one who's in the chat.
Yeah.
Right.
She doesn't want to be very visible publicly, but she helps with that.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you watch it with sound, I hope it will be funny. Maybe my sense of humor isn't good, but that one I think was pretty good. So yeah, with the rocket launcher, again, we'll get back to it. Look at that.
Mercado.
Yeah. So that's the one, the Easter Pisonki. And there was also a big contributor from Alberta, but that's like 100% my fault. I totally just somehow missed it. So we had to put a sticker highlighting the Alberta sort of investment in that. So I put it on the screen and I sent a personal message to the donor asking how we should go with it. I apologize for that, but yeah, we can always compensate with another sticker on another truck. That's
Exactly.
not going to be a big issue. Most importantly, the truck is there, and that's 2015. It's a really good one, really fresh one, less than 100,000 miles on it. So it has a lot of life in it, and they will need it. And yeah, so back to the rocket launchers, we want to get like 3, 4, 5 rocket launchers together and make a
boom boom.
Yes.
I would say boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. Lots of
Boom, boom
booms and
battery.
lots of booms. Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of booms, but yeah, before booms comes in, we have to pick up with the Easter Pisonki, because we have a lot of people willing to buy cars, drive cars, but we slow down a little bit on the donations. So anyone who is willing to help, who wants to get that Easter Pisonki patch, please join. You got a link in the description. Go to the campaign Easter Pisonki. Go to the one that Shills is running, so we can get the Shills truck to the front line.
Yeah.
There you go.
Let me get that link in the chat right now for everybody. There's a direct link to our thing. All right.
Yeah. Try to highlight that directly to yours. And then there was a video. Like when we normally do this video that all the trucks are leaving the place and going to the front line. But this time there was one girl. She was like 20 years old. She was, what would be that in feet? Very short. Like she's really small. 5 feet, 4.5, whatever is in this American way of measuring things. Maybe 116 European. And it's a right-wheel drive. It's a pickup truck. It's a manual, and it's all together at once. She never drove it, and she's just sitting in. And she's like totally lost. And then, Jesus,
She missed the convoy.
like, through one of the biggest countries in Europe, actually the biggest country in Europe, on the other side of the country. Like, oh, I'm worried. Now I'm worried. And I texted her, and she's all right. She made it. She just wasn't used to the right-wheel drive yet, so she needed a little bit of time.
Right.
To help her. And yeah, it's also because of drafting, because of mobilization. Men are fighting, and girls are bringing the ammunition. In this case, girls are bringing the truck, and that actually half of our drivers are women.
That's great.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, go back to America, World War II, and there was women just all over in the factories and everything because,
right,
dudes were busy,
Well, same here. So yeah, we have really courageous ladies, girls, very young girls who are helping, who are, it's more than 3 years of war, and they're still like, oh yeah, their eyes are, they're full of blood. They're burning. They want to do something. So
awesome.
That was a nice part to see that. And yeah, it's been, I don't know how many convoys in the row. We don't get lower than 5 trucks a week. That's a crazy pace. In the previous video, I said I'm glad we don't lose cars. And the person who was making the video, she said that she thought it's funny. that we don't look very professional. That I'm proud that we don't lose cars. But yeah, it's a lot, and a lot of them are same looking, and you have armor on top of them. So sometimes you don't have license plate visible, so they all look the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, we make it. Claire, sorry, you were saying something a couple minutes ago.
Oh, I was asking. Yeah, I noticed you've changed the number plates. You've got car4ukraine number plates.
That thing is freaking confusing. So we had 3 out of 5 drivers who came and who where the hell is our truck? Because when they have we have it very systematically. We have people come in, they already have a message on their phone that says, okay, so you come to this location, you pick up this car, this license plate, this is the make, this is the model, this is the license plate. And they're like, L200, this looks the same. We don't specify the color, we just say, yeah, it's an L200, this is the license plate. And they're like, where is it? And they were
green.
just freaking out. Yeah, look for green ones. There are 3 of them. Which one? Look for L200. Okay, there are 2 of them. Which one?
Yeah.
I don't know. So also it's actually illegal to drive like that. Even in a country at war, it's still illegal because you're just hiding the license plate, right? It's a made up thing that we made for YouTube community.
Yeah.
For police to track our social media and to find out which one it is. We decided we're going to be doing that only for some special events, and this time it was 600th vehicle. This is over 5 million euro worth of cars with a relatively small group of full-time people who are fully committed. This is I don't know, 15 people who are who since the beginning been with us, maybe 10, 15 people. That's it. All the other people, they either come and go, or they are sort of very, very part-time-ish involved. And that's a special occasion, 600 trucks. And we're okay, let's make those special license plate. For the regular ones, I think we're not gonna do that, because we might actually lose some trucks, or some people will be like, oh, I was waiting for another car. Armor, and it should be gray, and actually it has to be another car.
Yeah, you don't need any mix-ups, especially, trying to get them to where they need to go, and you get the authorities. Those aren't legal plates. Come on, just let us slip through, man.
Normally it's fine. We've never been fined for that.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah,
just go through, and even more than that, at the very beginning of the war, we had so many this block post, this what is this, post control stations where
checkpoints.
The checkpoints. We had them in every town you go through, you would have a checkpoint, and it would be not centralized. It would be an improvised thing by locals, and people who just had some weapons at home. They would just go there, made an improvised checkpoint, and check people. And the distance that you would normally take a couple of hours, you need to go the entire day almost, because you stop on every checkpoint. You need to show yourself, show things around, and every small town, every village, people just come and check. And it was a nice moment, because you see people are protecting their villages.
Yeah,
this was the first few days of war, but it's total disaster for logistics, man. This is oh man, stop it. And then the government took control of it, and they sort of left only the ones who they were crucial. But in the first months, it was there.
Yeah.
And our trucks, because they had stickers on them, because they were recognized, our guys would just go through.
Just shroom. Yeah.
They didn't really care about that.
Let me jump in, get a couple of shout outs done, and then there are some questions that are building up from the viewers, and we'll get to some here. So we got Cats coming in with a membership renewal, so big thanks there. We got Petra Olsen with Swedish kroners, 129 of them as well, with love to Ukraine, and with love it shall be sent. Joe Medley gifting out Shills memberships. Big thanks, Joe. We love Shills membership gifts. Jean-Marc Ladacour comes in with a super chat. Small April Fool's birthday from me to you. Hey, very cool, Jean-Marc. Thank you. Ken Patterson comes in with us $20 super chat for the Brewed in Canada Only Beer Fund. The man after my heart. Oh, yeah. I'm very careful about all that stuff now. Ain't no or American suds anywhere near me. Love the thought, too. Yeah. And then Jean-Marc Ladacour came in again with a second super chat here. Ever consider second hospital bus for Hospitaller? See their hospital bus video. I haven't, actually. I'm going to have to look. Does anybody know the reference there? Do you guys know what... I'll have to look that up. Let's see here. Can I copy it out of here? Yeah. Copy. Okay. 1 second here, guys. I'll see if I can't figure this out. It's going to take more than I thought because that seems to come up with all kinds of other things too. So give me a second. I'll get to that. Let me switch into my questions room here. Thanks.
The hospital bus you're talking about is probably like the ones you saw on the old TV show MASH. That's not uncommon, and from a logistic point, it makes sense because you only need one driver as opposed to 3 or 4 drivers to drive a similar number of smaller ambulances.
Right. Yeah, that's what the hospital bus. That's what popped into my head. MASH. Right away. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so let me switch to the questions room here. Thanks for the support, everybody. It's going right to Ukraine. You know what we're up to here, and we have our direct donation link in the chat to the Car4Ukraine fundraiser, and it'll be floating around in the live chat as well. We have a direct one where anything we collect indirect just goes into the fundraising pile at the end of the day. So huge thanks, everybody. Let's see here. Sarah had a question. Have you heard about the French YouTuber Xavier Tetleman? Tytelman. His audience are mainly French speakers. He does a good amount of fundraising for Ukraine. I don't know the name at all. Let's check him out here.
You wrote it, right?
I'm on it.
She has it's a very good thing you pointed.
Thank you for that tip. Who gave us that tip?
This is the exactly thing we've been looking for. We need, and maybe since we are now a little bit in Canada, we can say, right? Maybe partially, we do have a big request for a native French speaker who is motivated to help us reach out to the French audience. Either try help Claire and I reaching out to French-speaking influencers, YouTubers, and communicate to France. France is a huge country with a lot of cars, and they have a law that does not allow diesel cars to be used as freely as they were,
right?
Either already or in coming months, something like that. So a lot of people will be incentivized to get rid of their diesel SUVs and pickup trucks.
Right.
We could figure something out and get some of those cars to the Ukrainian army. And I'm sure there are actually a huge amount of cars available, either for free or on very, very discounted.
Yeah. Yeah, especially with the whole thing with diesels. That's going to price them super low because they're basically scrap if somebody doesn't buy them, right?
Yeah.
Yes. And there are a lot. And same thing actually is in the Netherlands. But Netherlands is flat. It's a small country. You don't really have pickups and SUVs there. You have bicycles and EVs.
Yeah.
And sometimes SUVs. And we do get donations from there. But French, they only speak 3 languages.
I have a French guy influencer in Ukraine for you. His handle is nico.de.france on Instagram. He speaks both French and Ukrainian. Like this very good looking guy, but he lives in Ukraine. He has a Ukrainian wife, and he's mostly on Instagram, but just a
cool.
Do you speak English?
Well, his whole thing was he teaches Ukrainian to French people and kind of promotes Ukraine to French audiences and kind of connects the dots there.
I know a few French people in Canada, but they wouldn't be of any help because French Canadians speak their own French. I don't think anybody in Paris or anybody in France is just not going to understand them very well. It's funny.
No, I'm
I think
surprised.
it's more important that people just they have to be not Paris French speakers. They have to
Yeah.
be pro-Ukrainian setup people. They have to, be willing to be.
Yeah, well,
interested
I'm
in
kidding a bit, but Canadian French is very different. It's quite funny. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Somebody
People-
once told me that they thought it was like having an American trying to speak to a Scotsman who has a very heavy brogue.
Yeah.
like-
Yeah.
Right.
I
Yeah,
can
no,
sense you're trying to speak to me in English, but I have no damned idea what you're saying.
Yeah. A Scotsman from the Highlands talking to a surfer beach bum down in like Long Beach or something, right? That's the kind of thing. They're both
They
using
won't
the
be
same
able to
language, but
conversation.
yeah.
It's totally different. I once talked to a guy from Scotland who wanted to donate his van. I didn't understand shit he was saying. The only thing I realized, he has a van where he wants to donate. The conversation lasted for about 20 minutes. I have no takeaways, but that one. And I would summarize, so you want to get your van to us? He's like, oh, yeah.
fantastic.
that's funny.
We got the van.
Oh, that's cool. Right on. We got a direct donation in from our own Annette in the chat there. Thank you to Claire and Ivan for all you do. And thank you to our viewers for being here with us today. Slava Ukraine. Hero
Annette.
Slava. That's so nice. Get the ball rolling on the direct donations. I like it. Let me make sure I'm caught up. Yeah. So if I can flip back, I got a lot going on different screens here. We got a question in from Jean-Marc Ladacour as well. Ever see the two Ukrainian female soldiers singing Bella Ciao while loading magazines? I
Yes.
haven't seen that.
No.
Oh, I got to look that up after. That sounds great.
Amazing
Um,
video.
As long as they're loading real rocket type magazines, not just some fashion magazine.
Yeah.
The real deal. It's not a jokey sort of thing.
Yeah. Oh, here. I've got somebody in the back here just sending me in a little video. Here's one of the medical buses that was being discussed there.
Oh, yeah, these buses are incredible. 'Cause
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not a transport bus so much as a treatment bus. Okay,
Yeah.
it's a
No,
mobile
they move.
hospital.
Yeah, they go on the road and they have to deal with these things. There's a lot of movement in these trucks while they're moving along and they're trying to treat these guys.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Wow.
Oh, we just had an earthquake. Sorry.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah.
Crazy
We're fine.
place.
Well, it's all Biden's fault. Remember that. It's Biden's fault.
Oh, yeah, that was
How
cool.
strong, how strong is that, Slavi?
Let me see. I mean, the alert didn't pop up, so it must have been not that strong. It was just like a jolt and back. So
Yeah, like a 3 or something.
So you left Ukraine because of alerts of rockets just to come to another side of the world. You have alerts about earthquake. You don't even have rockets against, like.
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, heck, living in Southern California, they got to be so commonplace you didn't even recognize it was happening until you heard it on the news. Oh, we had an
Wow.
earthquake today? Oh, okay.
That's what
Whatever.
it's like in Vancouver, but it's because nothing actually shakes. It's just, like,
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever felt a real earthquake before.
Oh, yeah. At first, you're kind of like enjoying them, and then now because there's so much talk, and there was a huge one in Thailand, and the aftershocks and everything. Like now, it's kind of hitting like, oh, we're due for a nice one.
Yeah.
So now it's kind of scary times, and with climate change, factors like that, it's scary. And I don't know if you guys seen the videos from Thailand. Holy.
Swimming pool in the water.
Yeah, there's some scary stuff in that. It's unbelievable what's being shown. It's just chaos, unbelievable.
I assume that the junta in Myanmar will lose control because of this. They can't get around the country. They've got no roads now. And I think, all sorts of chaos is going to happen in Myanmar politically, because they will definitely lose control of different areas where there's different groups that are armed up. It'll be very interesting to see, what Russia needs is a very good natural disaster of enormous proportions, because it's such a big country.
Yeah. I hear Trump is going to rename it back to Burma.
Yeah, well, there's that thought. That would be good.
So where else should we go here?
I have, I've just signed up a little bit of support. He's not been able to come into the campaign yet, but he's got a little bit of support. If anybody knows SK Media on X and YouTube, they're just been talking to me through the night, which didn't make for the best night's sleep, but there you go. It was worthwhile staying awake to catch a new person who's prepared to help the campaign. Cool. And he's just sent me his phone number, so that's a good sign.
Cool.
Look up SK Media. I actually don't know very much about him. I'd love to. I'm looking forward to researching him. I tell you what, our new friend on the campaign, the soy pill, which somebody has said to me, maybe that it's short for the theosophy of Pilsonia or something. It's got some other meaning rather than the soy pill, but I'm not quite sure what Niels is thinking with the name. But his last video was gaming mouthwashing. And I go, well, is that a game, or is it, it looked like these cartoon characters were actually washing out their mouths and spitting the mouthwash out. It was really, and he was speaking over the cartoon. It was really kind of bizarre. So, I'm an old bird. This is a brave new world to try and jump into and understand. And this whole bill is, raising funds for trucks at the same time as washing his mouth out. It's so bizarre. I really have to,
how bizarre? How bizarre. That's strange.
Entertainment makes people donate because I think I told this a while ago. How there's a Ukrainian challenge to do Ukrainian hapak, a challenge, and people were doing it and donating, and they were donating to see their big big YouTubers, let's put it this way, in the pro-Ukrainian community, to see them be silly and try to do these dances and challenge.
Right.
Well, that's like Canty and the hot peppers, or
yes,
plant, isn't it? Yeah. That people love to be entertained. It's amazing how these YouTube communities like yours gathers a community, and it becomes such a close community. It's extraordinary how the loyalty of the group. Thank you, group, for being so loyal, and how they really want to hang with their favorite people, and it's lovely.
Yeah,
it's very warm feeling. I always feel very welcome on this channel.
Well, that's the idea. Yeah. I'm glad to see it's working. Oh, that's for sure. Remember, we've got a bit of time today, so if you got questions, send them on in. We've got a couple more here. Let me jump in. We got Liam Wakefield, one from our team as well. I wonder if those buses are marked on the roof as hospitals, or do you think that would make them more attractive to orc drone operators?
Yes. In fact, it's probably a deliberate target for them, because it impacts morale disproportionately to, say, hitting just a regular truck or armored personnel carrier or something.
Yeah.
Or just a delivery, the food delivery guy, or
Yeah.
logistics guy.
Yeah. It makes sense when you think about it from the perspective of orcs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
I think they get more if they hit like targets, like big targets, they will get paid more.
Yeah.
No, they do it in Her Son and Human Safari.
Yep.
Drive you nuts. So nasty. So nasty. Now Belgorod, there's like a push going on. There's what do you think there, Commander? Worthwhile effort, going well,
It's kind of like the Kursk incursion. It puts Putin in a bad light, and he's forced to react and try to counterattack to retake it. Militarily, I don't know how big a deal it is, but from a diplomatic standpoint and a domestic political standpoint, I think it's worth it. There's always a trade-off between how much you're going to lose doing something like that and how much you gain by accomplishing it.
Right.
Because being on the offensive is always much more costly than being on the defensive.
Right. Good point. Good point. Sorry.
I have a question. With if we go into world recession, do you think this will affect Russia worse than anybody because they've got no reserves left?
Oh.
That has been something that's been raised on some of the economic channels, that Russia really couldn't stand a global recession, even though, it seems to us like they're not trading with anyone. Well, they are. They're trading with China, and China is going to be badly affected by the tariffs, it seems.
Oh, yeah.
And Australia is linked to China because China buys most of our export, and so we'll go down. But it'll all be worth it if it really impacts China's economy, and not China, Russia's economy.
Yeah.
The issue is that Russia is currently, for all intents and purposes, operating on a controlled, directed economy, and it's all geared towards supporting the war. So it will have less impact on them because their social sector has already been badly impacted by the course of the war, as opposed to everybody else who, as we go into recession, it means you need to find ways of, putting those social safety nets out to help people who've been impacted. So it's hard to say that it will impact them more than it will others.
Well, they're a fairly poor population anyway, and if
right, and that's the point. Is that when you're already a subsistence economy, losing some income really isn't going to have as much effect on people who have income and are now losing it.
Well, they're also like begging, I guess not begging, but negotiating with Trump to get sanctions lifted. And Trump didn't actually put any tariffs on Russia because we're not trading with Russia. And there was a whole thing. And then he also lifted sanctions of Putin's best friend's wife. I actually have the story in my notes. God forbid he lifts sanctions or whatever he has in his capacity to lift. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But when Russia is asking for it, they really need it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. For them to have to suck it up and actually ask. Right.
Well, Trump did threaten that he was going to impose a 25% tariff on Russian oil. Now, the absurdity of that just slaps you in the face because the tariff only applies to stuff coming into the U.S., and we import almost nothing in terms of petroleum from Russia. So it's a meaningless gesture. It has no impact. It's just him showing it. Oh yeah, I'm being tough on the Russians too. Look at me. I'm not Battleby or Putin's
Right.
butt boy.
Yeah, and I think any sanctions on North Korea are pointless because
Yeah.
there's no imports from North Korea. They've been sanctioned for so long.
Oh, it's
And
like
so-
his sanctions on the Falkland Islands. What the? There's not even enough people living there to start a war over. Oh.
And I think the Argentines would dispute that statement.
I was teasing Dunk about that, Sorry?
Did the British give it back? They didn't give it back to Argentina. They lost too many people that are still, the Falklands War generation is still alive in Britain.
Yeah.
I think Britain owns the Falklands.
They still do, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was I remember when I was young and that was going down. They started covering, South America quickly in geography and so on. And I remember thinking, why is that little spot so far away from the UK so important to them? I don't understand this.
It was important to both sides from a domestic political standpoint.
Right.
The reason that the Argentines invaded the place is the ruling junta was in just terrible straits with, popular opinion in Argentina. But by doing this, it would make everybody, we're proud to be Argentinian again because we've just taken back our prized possession.
Right.
Thatcher similarly she was sinking in the polls because of all the austerity measures she put in place. But now all of a sudden everybody had to wave the Union Jack, oh yeah, we're going to retake our little island down there.
Right.
So it played perfectly into both sides. It had nothing to do with the international situation. It was all domestic politics on both sides.
Right.
Yeah, it's a pretty dirty war too.
Yeah.
Prince Andrew go down there and have a go at it? Didn't last very long, but
yeah, not sure. Slavy's got another good meme here for us.
I love that ghost meme. Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's funny.
very good.
I like it. I got a big shout out here to do. Here, hold on a second. Let me turn that up.
Probably because the little bird-infested islands were not, helping Trump get his unsecured loans from Deutsche Bank like the Russians were. That's why.
Yeah.
Oh, did I say that? I'm sorry. That's a state secret. We're not allowed.
Yeah. Now, big shout out here from Steve Walsh in the chat there. $100 direct donation. Big thanks there, Steve. Big thanks. Says 3 items here. Snow melting in sheets off the roof like an earthquake of Merrill's Marauders. That's a good one. And then Russia has some recent naval exercises with India.
Yep.
That missed my radar. What's the deal there, Commander? Do you know?
They do those periodically. A lot of the Indian fleet is stuff that they bought from the Russians back during the Soviet era that they still have. They have fairly, I won't say close ties, but they're not adversarial. They do exercise together, but then the U.S. does exercises with all sorts of countries around the world too. It doesn't mean that we're, planning a war.
Probably not anymore, but you used to.
Well, yeah, true enough.
It does get complicated when India's in some Pacific pact with Australia and USA, and then it's in some other pact with Russia. It gets complicated.
It must.
Absolutely. Did India got tariffed, right? In a bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In a big way, right?
Well, what did India get? I actually don't know.
Yeah,
I know Vietnam and Cambodia got hit really hard because of their exporting Chinese goods. But
well, they did. How they did this tariff was with ChatGPT.
It has less to do with how much, Cambodia may or may not be sending Chinese goods. It has a lot more to do with the fact that because Cambodia is a poor nation. It doesn't buy that much from the U.S., whereas all of the raw materials that they produce that get exported, a lot of it goes to the U.S. So you have a trade imbalance because of that.
Right.
You know, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah.
You know, the orange shit gibbon will tell you, oh, it's a terrible thing.
But it's
Most
not.
economists will tell you it's a good thing, because what it means is we're getting all these valuable raw materials at bargain basement discount prices
Exactly.
from a country that, you know, is more than happy to take it, you know, to take our money to get that stuff so they can do something with their economy.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm seeing here in a Times of India report, for Indian goods, it translates to a 26% duty. So that's pretty hard hitting, you know.
For India.
We've Stellantis, you know, the guys who bought up Chrysler, and it's the Fiat group, basically, right? They have already announced a shutdown at a Mexican and in Windsor, Ontario auto plants coming up. Yeah, but Stellantis
which in
is not.
turn means that we'll shut down any plants in the U.S.
Exactly.
because that's where all the parts that we use to produce cars in this country come from.
Exactly. And the now, I mean, if you look at the car sales in general, it's not like Stellantis are doing well anyway, but there's no way those factories would have closed if it wasn't for these tariffs. No way at all, right?
Yeah.
You know, so it's already happening. It's already hurting, already sucking.
So at this sort of time, obviously everybody buys local, right? So Canadians buy Canadian, and Americans buy American, and Australians buy Australian, which is the reason why we looping this round to Ukraine and car4ukraine, which is one of the main reasons why. Just seen a black spot on my face. I've got to get rid of that. It must be something yucky. Why we support car4ukraine, because it's the local in Ukraine vehicle provider. It is genuinely the Ukrainian one, and this brings benefits to the country that go beyond just donating vehicles to the country. And because local people get employed to do up these cars, the mechanics and the painters and the armorers and the drivers and so on. And these people pay taxes to the country, and so they have to be upskilled to be able to do these tasks. So it's got various effects that are for the benefit of Ukraine to donate through car4ukraine. And that's really why I'm here, because I really believe in supporting the local industry while you're donating, so that you get that dual benefit of the country grows in skill and capability, and it becomes an independent war economy for Ukraine that we're supporting by donating to car4ukraine. I think it's actually a really important thing, particularly at this time when everybody's thinking about that. They should really understand that this supporting your local is a really important consideration when you're donating your dollars. And go car4ukraine, because they're all Ukrainian. I'm stuck over here in Australia. I'm not, but they are. And all the people in Lviv who work on these cars and manage the organization are all in Ukraine, in Lviv, doing it. So it needs a lot of support.
By the way, Ukraine also got tariffed at 10% tariff on all Ukrainian goods.
How moronically stupid is that?
Yeah.
It's also important, I think, to remember that the trade that's going to be impacted is only trade with the U.S. I mean, Australia could still trade with Canada or Argentina or wherever. These tariffs have nothing to do with those trade relationships. So basically what he's doing by putting these major obstacles for trade in place is isolating the U.S. from the rest of the world.
Yeah.
So everything that we used to be selling to other people, they're going to find new markets, and those will become the norm. And it's going to take decades for the U.S. economy, where the trade economy, to recover from all this stuff.
Yeah.
That's how short-sighted he is. And he thinks that somehow this is going to magically restore American industry. Except it isn't going to, because it's still cheaper to import the stuff from overseas with the tariffs on it.
Exactly. That's that whole section of this is missed. Under Trump's direction right now, the base price of an F-150 is going to be about $105,000.
Yep.
That's not and the new cars are so much worse at lasting than cars from just not that long ago were.
Oh yeah.
That everybody out there right now listening to my voice, if you're not somebody who always has a brand new car on lease or that kind of thing, and you're usually driving a used car, you're as screwed in no time, because there's going to be no cars used to buy. They're all going to be junk and expensive. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Also, he thinks he's creating all these manufacturing jobs in this golden age, but robots, like companies will use robots to automate everything.
He's hoping that. Yeah, he's going to hope. He's hoping, and his followers are hoping that all those semi-skilled jobs, the factory worker jobs that were transferred overseas because the labor was cheaper there, are going to magically return here. Except all the factories that used to do that stuff have been shut down. All that equipment has been sold off. So if they have to open new ones, they're going to buy the top of line equipment, most of which is robotic.
Yeah.
So you're not getting semi-skilled workers. You're getting skilled workers with, computer and AI degrees.
Yeah. It's going to be $35.
And where do most of those seem to come from these days?
Yeah.
Overseas.
Also, it's going to take time to build them. This is not something that's going to take maybe
minimum 3 years.
Minimum 3 years. Yeah, it's not. It's going to be tough.
And the basic necessities in life that are things you purchase on a weekly, monthly basis or whatever, like even just like a mop and a bucket or something, it's going to be ridiculously expensive to get the average product, because it's just simply the economies of, one region expensive dollar, one region low. Well, they make it, we buy it. It's just unbelievable that somebody could think that we're going to pay $55 for a bucket.
The more I think about it, the more these idiot plans that materialized out of his diseased little brain come across as if it's like a bunch of high school stoners sitting around figuring out how they're going to break into Fort Knox and steal all the gold. It's like it's this pipe dream not based anything on reality. It's just, man. Yeah, I'll come in with my hunting bow and I'll hold them up, and then you sneak in and put it all in your little suitcase and you take it out and nobody will notice that it's going. It's like, what the hell are you thinking?
Basically, I've been hearing from people how Trump is, and they were saying that if Trump gets an idea that he goes after, it doesn't matter. It's like, God forbid, the people that are not within his circle now, when you're doing their tell-alls, they're when he gets an idea, that's it. He goes for it. Doesn't even listen to his advisors.
Dog with a bone, man. Dog with a bone.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna let that go. It's my bone.
Yeah. He chases that car till it stops, and he smashes that red nose of his right into the damn car.
It's so
what the hell do I do with
that
the car?
they did this plan with AI, ChatGPT, the tariffs. They counted everything.
Well, it's funny because if you
Don and Elon's excellent adventure, I'm going to use that, man. I'm using that.
Oh, that's funny. We gotta get our man, the Carpazian, the AI alchemist, on that. I need some movie posters right now. Don and Elon's great adventure.
Is Elon gone? Is he leaving? Or is he just going on to something else? That's
You
gonna-
can't trust anything that's coming out because there's a lot of stuff leaking out that's saying, oh, they're on the outs, they're not friendly with each other, and Elon's been given the finger wag because he was doing things that, too much that are embarrassing. Honestly, that can be disinformation to further cover up crap that Elon's up to. You never know.
So
If there's a story, if there's a rumor, it's a good thing. I think if there's more.
Oh yeah, well,
We always said two huge small dick energy personalities can't be two.
I think when it happens, it's
Can't
going to
cross
be
the
a
streams.
big blow up. I don't think it'll be a quiet shuffling him off to greener pastures or something.
Sure.
No, it'll be this huge, colossal, blah, 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 and he'll try to, arrest him for fraud or whatever to cover his own ass.
Do you think Elon is doing it for safety? Because I mean, he's easily the most hated man right now, and I mean, with Tesla, everything. I mean, by the way, today is a huge rally day in the United States.
Yes,
people are. Yeah. So, but I was saying that because people are vandalizing and Teslas and everything. So
well, to the point that they've passed an executive order where a protest that does any damage to a Tesla dealership is now considered an act of terror.
wow.
yeah,
Bad, isn't it?
So
I
if
mean,
you spray paint a swastika on a Tesla car, you're a terrorist. We can send you to Gitmo.
Yeah.
it is criminal if you think about it. But what worries me is that they're waiting for the moment that somebody gets violent in these protests and they declare martial law.
That's what they're hoping for.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Oh, I never thought of that. Wow. What? Absolutely. Now that I see it, I'm ashamed to say I missed it.
They
How
even
far
have
is it
infiltrated.
Oh, sorry, Commander.
I was going to say they've actually infiltrated some of like the January 6th people and so forth into the protest to try to spark incidents which will cause the police to react, and so he can declare, oh, the radical left, they're terrorizing the country, martial law, and arrest everybody. And at that point, any governor of a blue state, boom, you're in prison.
Yeah. So guys, nonviolent protests, please stand up for yourself, but nonviolence, because
very well trained snipers with not a lot of work on their hands right now, he will give you a pass, but everybody else, non-violent protests.
How big of a deal is this for what's happened now? Is this like a regular thing, or is this like controlled protests, not many people on them? Because I read about it like a few lines before joining this stream.
The protests, U.S. covers 3 time zones. So the ones here on the West Coast where I am only started probably about an hour and a half ago. The ones on the East Coast were quite big. Somebody here cited the figure of over 100,000 protesters in Washington, D.C., for example. And I know there are equally large protests in New York and Chicago and so forth. So it's a very large movement, and it's all directed specifically at Musk and Doge to stop trying to dismantle the government, which is what they're actively doing.
It's not against Trump, it's against Elon?
It's against both, but it's primarily focused on Elon's Doge, Department of Governmental Efficiency, this fictitious agency that Trump set up with Elon at the head of, where they're going in and like saying, the Department of Education, okay, everybody here, you're all fired. And just literally dismantling
we don't need
all the aspects of government. The idea is, if you get rid of all that stuff, then you can privatize it so that the oligarchy can make money off of doing substandard jobs for for the same function.
Aren't the protests also about the illegal exporting of the immigrant people?
Yeah.
Or-
So I was just going to cover a story on
Yeah.
that,
Sure.
and that has to do with Ukraine, actually.
Mm.
But the U.S. Department of Homeland Security mistakenly sent emails to multiple Ukrainian refugees residing legally in the United States under the Uniting for Ukraine, U4U humanitarian parole program. That emails incorrectly stated that their parole status had been revoked and that they had 7 days to leave the country or face federal enforcement actions.
Wow.
The message warned, do not attempt to remain in United States. The federal government will find you.
Holy shit.
The communication caused widespread panic and among the Ukrainian refugee community, obviously, and many recipients, including pregnant women, were left in distress and confusion, fearing imminent deportation, despite having legally renewed their immigration status recently. There's like Ukrainians in Iowa, they reported that at least 2 women received this misleading message, generating kind of really widespread fear.
Mm.
And DHS later confirmed that the emails were sent in error and reassured recipients that their parole status remained unhinged.
Those were only draft documents. They weren't meant to be sent yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Message implied, but not overtly stated.
Yeah.
But
Total
just to
warning
finish
shot
up the
across the
loop,
bow, too, right?
the U4U program has not been terminated. So, and the terms of the parole are originally issued are still in effect.
Yeah, but I mean, they are acting against people. Right now, it's primarily of Hispanic extraction, and they're deporting people to these prisons in El Salvador, where there's no accountability. There are cases where they've admitted, yeah, you're right, we shouldn't have deported him. He's actually a U.S. citizen, born in this country. Well, you need to do something to get him back. Oh, we can't do that. The prison's run by El Salvador. We don't have any control over what they do down there.
There's actually cases of Europeans not getting in their passport and papers, and these are also with passport holders, immigrants with legal papers. So there's a lot of cases, big cases that I've been articles on, that it's not just the Latin community, it's European community. I don't know if they're just, doing a big case here and there for fear. I've definitely heard that theory that.
Yeah, the fear and the cruelty is an integral part of this program. It's to make people shut up, be silent, and accept everything we're doing to you. Because if you make a noise against us, you're going to a prison in El Salvador. Yeah. That's the intent here.
They even created a website to tell on yourself. They intimidate you, so you deport yourself.
Yeah, there's an app and everything. Yeah, unbelievable. We reported on that. I couldn't believe it.
Isn't there a ship called the Lusitania that's going to take them all?
It's probably the Titanic.
The Lusitania was the famous ship that a large group of several hundred Jewish people got onto to get out of Europe as World War II was starting.
Was a ship sunk that brought America in World War I.
Oh, was it? Have I got the wrong name of the ship? Yeah. Anyway, there was a ship that a lot of Jewish people.
There is a ship. You're correct that did happen, but it's not Lusitania.
But nobody was. But they sailed off to America. They weren't allowed to land because
it was more than it was more than just the U.S.
Yeah, I know. And then they sailed somewhere else.
All over the world. And that was what the Nazis kind of did that deliberately. And the whole idea was to be able to show that nobody in the world wants the Jews. Therefore, it's okay if we get rid of them.
Wow. Oh, it's some evil shit.
No kidding.
Well, we're going down that pathway, aren't we, though?
Oh, yeah.
You know, like
Sadly.
in a country like America, as well as, you know, we know Russia's been down there for a long time, but for America to absorb this philosophy is just so heartbreaking and horrible.
Yeah.
To do it in such a short period of time.
Yeah.
I mean, less than a decade, we've gone from,
No.
you know, being the good guy to now being as evil as Putin in some ways.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know?
From a world, I guess, police guy, you know, the number one, to being number one hated country,
Yeah. Crazy.
other than Russia.
Yeah. But it's a switch I never thought I'd see. You know, I mean, I'm on the planet for a good 50 some years now, and I kind of thought a lot of this stuff was way more settled. I never thought it could have upended this quickly. Unbelievable.
By the way, they're also from immigrants. They're taking away people's phones, and they're checking, you know, for something to incriminate these people. But they're also, and this is not lawful, by the way, but they're also checking for if you criticize the government. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a much. So yeah, even I'm afraid to travel. I'm like,
There's a former president or prime minister of a country. I can't remember where he's from. Was it El Salvador? No. I can't remember. But he just found out in the last week that his visa and everything to go to the United States has been revoked. And he's a Nobel Peace Prize laureate, and his credentials have been revoked because he put out a couple of tweets that were against the administration.
well, we know what triggered that, because Trump really wants his Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah.
Jealous much?
If Trump
Speak
ever...
no ill of the Orange God King.
No, we don't do that here, by the way.
Yeah. If Trump ends up in the laureate list of Nobel winners, then the award has no meaning after that's it.
Well, he has to get to world peace first, and I mean, we're not getting anywhere. If anything, Russia intensified its attacks
Yes.
there. So
Yeah. He hasn't done a damn thing of good yet as it pertains to world peace.
yeah, or stand behind Ukraine and actually help Ukraine win.
That's right.
In fact, he's making it harder and harder. But
Yeah, and that would have furthered his cause a lot more than all this crap he's trying to do now.
although we are very thankful for, you know, turning on the intelligence sharing. So thank you, Trump.
Oh, yeah.
We have to say thank you now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. While wearing a suit.
So that ship tried to get into Cuba, United States, and Canada, and ultimately had to go back to Europe. It was the SS St. Louis.
I think it also
okay.
tried to get into Mexico, if I remember correctly.
Maybe.
Wow.
And that's just that chat. Google AI gave me the answer. Asked for the Jewish ship during World War II. It's the SS St. Louis. I always thought it was the Lusitania. There you go. Totally wrong.
Yeah.
Thank you for that fact check there, Commander.
Don't get me started on Lusitania. We'll be here for 20 minutes and you'll hear more historical trivia than you ever want to hear.
I do want to put that question to you that I gave you the heads up about. It was if Trump ordered an invasion of a friendly country and it wasn't passed through Congress, so it was an illegal order, would the military be forced to obey it?
Well, first off, let's dissect the statement illegal order. The president, according to a law that was passed back in the 70s, has the authority to commit U.S. forces to action for 90 days without congressional approval.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then if Congress doesn't approve, he gets a further 30 days to withdraw those forces from wherever he committed them. So basically 4 months to play whatever game he wants.
You can cause a lot of chaos in 4 months, man.
Right, but it's even worse.
Because how do you withdraw?
No. Following in the wake of the 9/11 attacks,
Oh.
Congress approved the GWAT AUMF. So it's the Global War on Terror authorization for the use of military force. That still remains in effect today because they didn't put a time limit on it. They also didn't specify what constituted global war on terror. So all a president has to do, or his administration, is find some way to cross-connect terrorism, and he can commit forces anywhere, and he has a blanket authorization for that to last as long as he wants.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
That spells freaking doom. That's the emperor has his clothes on and he's got his scepter and he's ready, right? You know?
And he's jamming that scepter right up your poop chute.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. To coin a phrase from Frank Zappa.
Yeah. No. And one of the things that just frustrated the hell out of me is when neither Obama nor Biden canceled that AUMF for the GWAT.
Right.
So, I mean, and I know operations that probably are still classified, so I won't talk about them in detail, but I know that we've been sending forces into countries that people have no idea that we sent forces into to do things that really are very, very shady.
Oliver North shady?
Yeah. And all you had to do was say, oh, yeah, we thought that Bubba over there was sending some of the money he was making by selling drugs. He was sending that to Al Qaeda. Oh, okay. So now we can invade that country because Bubba, obviously, he's a big deal in that country, and therefore they're supporting him. The whole country's guilty of supporting terrorism.
Oh, wow.
Yep. That's the kind of nonsense that's going on
Oh,
in your
wow.
name.
But that's not unique to this government.
No.
Yeah, it's been a few.
There have been many. And I will go so far as to, and I am going to paint myself the bad guy paint here, to say I agree with some of the stuff that's been done using that authorization because it does have connections. It's doing good stuff.
Right.
But all too often, I think what happens is that people use fuzzy logic to arrive at excuses to do things that really there's no justification for.
Right.
By saying, oh, yeah, it is connected with the GWAT.
Yeah, they use the Putin logic. There are American, English speakers there or Russian speakers there.
Exactly.
We've got a couple of shout outs I'm going to jump in and do here. And we've got a couple of questions in as well. So I got John Pasquale. I'm not sure how to fully pronounce that properly here. $10 super chat in. Thank you, John. Kentucky bourbon. No. Buchanan Scotch. Oh, yeah. I like it. Yes, that's the way it works now, man. Absolutely. Niles G came in with a membership renewal and then gifted out 10 more. All right, Niles. Big thanks there. Thank you very much. Come on, you stupid thing. There we go. It's modern computers. Why expect them to work properly, right? Let me jump into the questions here, everybody. So we got one for Commander. It's from Ken Patterson in the chat there. You think Putin will make a major move on Ukraine leading up to the May Victory Day parade?
It would not surprise me, and I think it's almost guaranteed. I mean, the Victory Day parade, it's really hard to put that in a context that most non-Russians would understand. I mean, we have in the U.S., for example, we have Veterans Day, we have Memorial Day, they have Remembrance Day in Canada or the UK or what have you. But Victory Day for Russia is a huge deal. It's, they're basically perpetuating the myth that they saved the world from fascism, and it was the sacrifice of 30 plus million of their people fighting the Nazis. So they make a huge deal out of this. And we know that in the past couple of years, every time leading up to Victory Day, prior to that, they staged some offensive to see some tiny little podunk town that they build up in the press as, oh, this is the key center. This will, turn the war in our tide, so they can at least announce glorious Vladimir has taken this important village, and that's going to turn the tide of this special military operation. So I think it's foregone conclusion they'll do something.
Yeah. Good one. And we got a question here from Salt of the Red Earth for Slavy. Can I ask if you're personally worried for speaking up at all? And then in brackets it says, I really hope you keep speaking up.
I also got this question. They asked me if I'm worried about speaking up against MAGA. No, they're morons. Trump administration.
Don't soft sell it. Tell us what you really think.
News is news, and if Trump watches my videos and gets upset that I made fun of penguins having the same hair as him, then I guess I don't belong in the United States. I'm sorry.
We got room for you in Canada if anything goes down. Just come on back.
I'm Canadian, so
yeah, exactly. That's a good one. And then Martin UK there was in the chat. Not much on British news about the 50-51 rallies. Any of you seeing it on news channels and stuff? There's coverage in Canada for sure. There's many of the 50-51 rallies going on in Canada. I'm in a small town in the west side of the Rocky Mountains, and there's one going down here today. I was thinking about going down and, doing a little stream of it, but it's a little too doxing. I'd rather not do that. My town is my refuge and nobody really needs to know it. American news, it's all over. I mean, even Fox News was showing the protests, right? So, yeah.
They've been planning this day, these protests I've been probably seeing it for a month on Instagram, ads everywhere. Like it's a really huge campaign. So
very much so. Speaking of huge campaign, let's get some shout outs in for the Car for Ukraine campaign. Let's get the links in and whatnot and see if we can't bring the tally up some. That would be excellent. I could probably bring up the website here.
It's a little bit sad. Not a lot happening. The guys are hanging on to their super funds.
Yeah. It's I find right now with our audience being very North American based, tariff uncertainty and so on, funds are not flowing quite as they always have. And I can understand that because I'm already seeing some price increases on just the things I buy generally, so I'm already starting to see it. I get it totally. I
guess we were all hoping that it wasn't really going to affect how people feel about this, but it does. And so
very much so.
It's a bit scary, on that front, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's only going to get worse for a while. I mean, a friend of mine was getting ready to sell her car coming up in fall and replace it with a much newer but used vehicle. And I've encouraged her to do that right now because the price of used cars are going up with the price of new cars. That's just how the market works. She never thought of it. So she's getting on it right now before it hits, right?
Yeah.
So you need to sell them?
Yeah. Well, all used cars are going to go up the same price as the new ones are. That's just the way the market will react, guaranteed. And as such, she's better off to do this right now than wait till fall.
Yeah.
Same thing happened during COVID when, we stopped getting cars shipped in from other sources. The price of used cars just spiked.
Yeah, and some of them stayed up, like some of the more classic SUVs and stuff. They never came down in value afterwards. They're riding high. But people realized they're kind of the better vehicle to buy. Like, you're better off with a 2004 Toyota Land Cruiser than you are with a used 2021 Chevy something.
Yeah.
you know.
Hey,
'Cause
you
you
got
might
to
not
excuse me for a
report.
sec. I'm going to get up and walk around. I'm going to keep my earphones on. I'll talk to you guys.
Sure. We're-
Doctor's orders that I need to keep mobile on this.
Sure. We're coming up on wrap up time anyway here, because if I go, I've got about 5 or 6 minutes, and then we got to get wrapped up because my son will only let me do this for so long on Saturday, and then I've got to get back into life, right?
Yeah.
Commander, people in Australia get a skateboard and put it under their desk and continually move their knee on the skateboard.
Oh, I do that too.
Oh, good.
Good
Excellent.
idea.
Yeah.
But I'm supposed to put weight on this thing. That's the key.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you've got to strengthen those bones that are attached to a bit of metal.
It's not so much the bones, it's the muscles that got severed and then reattached as part of the surgery.
Oh,
Right. Gosh.
that sounds. Yeah, that sounds
painful.
Yeah,
just a little.
I'm just hearing the sound of a knife scraping on bone and just shivering, right? You know.
I guess all the other YouTube crew that are in our car4ukraine group are all at protests. That's why they're not here, because I thought we might get Baba Yaga or Rudy, but they're all at protests. So that's a good sign if the protests are really that active.
Yeah.
I want them to be doing that and to be recording it as much as possible.
I was really tempted to put today's show off till tomorrow, but tomorrow morning and afternoon just doesn't work out in my world. So it was kind of just, well, what the heck? We'll just do it anyway, right? You know?
Yeah. And you're not protesting at the moment. It's America-wide. Slava, are you going to any protests?
Rallies, I may go tomorrow, but I'm not protesting, I'm rallying.
Yeah.
Rallying, that's a good word. And Ivan, how do you think morale is in Ukraine, given what's happening in the USA at the moment? It's so toxic and the whole world is changing. Is that affecting the morale in Ukraine? It must be to some degree.
I just saw the news that something is happening a couple hours ago, so I don't think we've got that response from here. And I think in general we are we are very little sensitive to the news now.
Yeah.
So like until it's really big, until it's like everywhere, repeated a couple of times, then we take it serious. But if it's just once somewhere, like it's like the news that there was a bomb and someone died, you're like, well, that happens, right?
Yeah.
But when you see everyone is reposting it, then it's like, okay, that's big, that's something significant. Just like with this shelling of Kryvyi Rih, like we get shells of civilian places every day, but this one was like on the playground during the daytime. Half of that people are kids. That's a bit different.
That's nasty.
And, so what's happening in the US now? I don't know. Maybe I didn't follow up because I was busy with making the video and other stuff. But I think there must be some consequences out of it, and then that will be a big thing. Until then, something is happening. Is that going to help us? I don't know. So we fight a war. We have things on the ground that are
much more important. Yeah, you're all getting on with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any knowledge? I mean, I know you're not a great historian, Ivan. Do you have any knowledge of how Ukraine dealt with the last global recession? So we could go back to the 30s or maybe some lesser kind of periods of recession, like in the end of the 80s or something.
I mean, we were part of Soviet Union then.
So that was the 30s. Was that already in the time of Stalin? When did Stalin?
We had Holodomor. We had the 30s. You mean like the 32nd, 33rd, 1933rd?
Yeah, 1930 depression.
That was
it was the same time as Holodomor, yeah.
Oh, Holocaust. This is what we said. Yeah,
yeah, right.
That's actually a little bit of a propaganda. So it was not the Holodomor. It was a Holocaust. So it was a time when Stalin was just killing millions of Ukrainians. So it's called there's actually a movie made by I think it's a Canadian director together with Ukrainian sort of also some filmmakers. It's called The Bitter Harvest. It's about that time period when
it's a feature film. It's not a documentary, right? You're talking about?
Yeah, I think it's based on a lot of truth. But yeah, it's
a big Hollywood it's a Hollywood film, but it's probably the only one that's made about Holodomor and this Holocaust. But I have been noticing recently the videos about Holodomor being called Holocaust, which is interesting, and I did take a note, and then thank you so much for correcting me on that.
So it's now referred to as a Holocaust, and we're wrong to call it the Holodomor.
I mean, it was a Holocaust. Insane amounts of Ukrainians were systematically killed.
Yeah.
It was part of the larger Great Purges that went under Stalin's regime in the early 30s.
I even remember I had a sister of my grandfather, and she was born in 1920 something, and she actually had some conscious. She was already conscious at that time. It was 1932, 1933, and I just asked her, what do you remember? She was like, yeah, we were taking some grass. So she said what type of grass. They put water in it, boil it, make soup. It was like just finding something outside and making a soup out of it. But it was
really bad, very terrible.
Yeah, well, it was really, really tough.
Yeah,
it was really tough.
Must have been. I mean, holy.
The craziest part is they covered it up. Such a genocide, they covered it up from the West.
Yeah, of course they did.
Yeah.
I think Starsky blames it for why he's got such a keen interest in food. He says Ukrainians can never satisfy their hunger because it's in their DNA now to really hunt for food. Do you agree?
My grandma was, when she was alive, and I think a lot of Ukrainian grandmas, it's important for them for you to finish all your food on the plates. And it's very disrespectful. And I mean, they had to go through that, and we're not finishing our food on the plates.
Yeah.
And actually my grandma, I was little, and she would see me, I was very skinny. She would start crying because it reminded her of those images.
I kind of saw that here in the U.S. with people who lived through the Great Depression. It was the same thing. You will clean your plate or you're going to stay here at the table all night. Because wasting food was such a horrible thing to do, because you never knew if you were going to be able to eat or not. It's far less than what Ukraine went through at the time, but it's the same kind of mentality where you develop this, you cannot waste something that's a valuable resource like that.
Right.
And also playing with bread is a huge no-no, because bread and grain is very sacred to
holy.
Yeah. And playing with your bread and like doing stuff is a huge no-no as well.
Yeah.
We even had can I just the last thing, Dick? We had this thing with even like our parents, who would always have a bunch of stuff in the storage, like a lot of potato, salt, rice would be on the back, somewhere in the storage, and you look at it like, why the hell you buy it in like dozens of gallons of rice? Why do you need it? Just go buy 1 kilo or whatever. And we never realized it with my brother. We're like, why do you do it? And it's my parents. They were born in 1966.
Right.
Why do you do it? But it's because they had it from their parents.
Yeah.
And now when the war started, the full-scale war, And when you all of a sudden you have a risk of not being able to access all of that,
That's right.
you start doing exactly the same shit. I have a bunch of potato and in the back,
Yeah,
and water. It's a
makes perfect
it's
sense.
crazy shit.
Yeah,
And when the first time I came to the US and I saw how people waste food in restaurants,
I know. Oh,
I almost cried on that. Like, guys, let's keep it. Give it to some homeless, or bring it somewhere. I don't know. Give it to me. I'll eat it all.
yeah.
Whatever. Just don't waste it. It's just so much waste. And I was thinking about how to optimize it and everything. And the guy was like, the manager, like a pretty luxurious resort, he was like, just throw it away. We don't want to deal with it.
Yep.
Yeah. Unbelievable. I know. A couple of shout outs here I'll get in before we and we've got a couple of mentions we have to do because Ivan and Slavi both have things we're gonna get to here before we wrap up. So we got Thomas Pedersen in the chat. I sent in a $35 direct donation there. Big thank you there, Thomas. Thank you very much. Come on, hearts work. There we go. Says everyone expected Trump to take the highway, but instead he chose the psychopath. That was a really good one.
That's better than sewer, which is what I would have said. But
yeah. That was a good one. And then we have another one here, a direct Ko-fi donation in from Sarah, $12. Big thank you there, Sarah. For trucks, Europe supports Ukraine and freedom. Big shout, Sarah. Thanks. I'll get it into the pile as soon as the show is done here. Thank you very much. Let me look over here. I think we're good there. Let's see here. Ivan, we've got your video queued up if you want. Am I putting sound on this? Yes?
Yeah, please. We could just listen before you play that. I can make a little intro, right?
Sure.
This is in this campaign that we are raising funds for. There are two main groups. One is the HUR, the main intelligence directorate, and another one is the Seraphims. And they just really work hard to make this video, and it had some music on, and some YouTubers told me that it triggers the algorithms and it puts down the video because it's sort of copyrighted. So I asked them to remove it, and they just updated it a couple of days ago.
Oh, perfect.
So you can see some of the things that work. And they also have a lot of women in their groups, so I think it's a very nice showcase.
Cool.
Yeah,
let me roll it here, everybody. Enjoy.
Ми, пілоти роти ударних безпілотних авіаційних комплексів «Серафими». Ми щоночі полюємо на ворогів. Цей борт називається «Вампір». І це справжній нічний кошмар для окупантів. Бо кожен скид – це влучання по цілі. Техніка, піхота, укриття. Від вампіра не сховається ніхто.
Нам для нашої роботи дуже потрібні 10 пікапів і 2 буса.
Я старший лейтенант Сергій Костинський, командир ударної роти «Серафими». І я звертаюся до команди car4ukraine, Бандеромобіль, а також до партнерів їх ком'юніті на Ютубі, в мережі X, в Інстаграмі, включаючи ATP Geopolitics, Eric Sikamimus, Word Translated, Pistol One, Andrew Mercado, Таня Іона, Rick the Ukrainian та інших міжнародних бійців на інформаційному полі з проханням долучитися та посприяти в зборі на автомобілі для нашої ударної роти.
Нам потрібна ваша допомога. Від цього залежить наше життя.
Good video.
Good video. There you go, guys. That's what we're paying for. Let's support these soldiers to get their trucks. Please donate, even if you only donate a little bit. Yes. And while we've been doing that, our co-supporter PSO1, who's also raising funds for this same campaign, just posted that the Ukrainian drone hit let me try and get this word right, the Optikovo-Lovo-Nia Systemi plant, which is the only plant in Russia which produces optical fiber. So that's a good thing. That's a big hit.
Yes.
Let's
Very
hope
good.
It's complete. It looks pretty bright explosion, but you can never tell whether it's been taken out completely, but that's exciting.
Yes. Good one indeed.
we don't like that optical fiber all over the place, but if we're going to put it there, let it be our side.
Yeah, very much. Slavi, did you want to okay.
So my uncle Pietza passed away. He was a professional soldier. He served in the Soviet Rapid Reaction Forces, deployed to hotspots like Fergana and Dushanbe. And after USSR collapsed, he returned to Kharkiv and served as a major in Berkut, and later moved to the US, where he became a citizen. But Petya went back to Ukraine when full-scale started. He went straight to the enlistment office and took command of a unit and defended Kharkiv, which is where we're from. He fought for Ukraine's freedom because he had the heart of a true soldier. So eternal glory to Ukraine's heroes. Slava Ukraini.
God bless for your uncle. So, Ivan, the Seraphims group seem to have that very large drone. Is that called a Baba Yaga drone? Is that what that name comes from?
Yeah, I'm just sorry, Slava, for that. That's really that's the word. I just sorry, Claire, just from I also found out a few days ago that some friends of mine, her father is in was sort of considered to be lost, just at war, so like lost, missing, right? Yeah. But then later they found him on a Russian blog that he's a prisoner of war. So I guess that's you put everything in comparison. So that seems to be a relatively good news compared to you just shared, even though it was it's a horrible thing if you just hear about that.
Yeah.
Like that without context. That one, Claire, you asked, it's a vampire. That's the one. I think they're sort of, I guess they're pretty similar, like big ones that can carry a lot of stuff. Not sure about Baba Yaga. Yeah, but vampires for sure. So it's a big one that has night vision stuff and can drop several things and return back. So it's a not one-time use thing. So you can put expensive items on it, but it's also expensive to operate it. And I guess for one of those, we'll need a van to provide to them so they can carry it. But they also use planes and other stuff. So they're not super famous on internet, but we know them pretty well, pretty close, and every vehicle that they get will be turned into good result.
Right.
Let's not describe it.
Well, we're just at my time limit here, so we should probably do our wrap up. Slavi, you want to take us around?
Sure. Why don't we start with, I'm going to go in random order. Claire, please go ahead.
To my final thoughts?
Final thoughts, yes.
My final thoughts is we really have to support Ukraine as best we can, and particularly at this time where America's pulling back from everything and the rest of the world's going into financial crisis. Just giving a little bit becomes so important, because they can't, as I've said before, they can't win the war with trucks, but they can't win it without them either. So they need these trucks so desperately, and the calls for more trucks from the frontline soldiers is such a desperate plea. And to get this unit fully functional and fully operative so that it can do the best job it can at hunting Russians is the best that we can do. So let's do it. Thank you.
Right.
I'm very sorry about your input, and I think that's, it's ghastly news. It's all ghastly news. It's just unbearable pain that everybody's in. And thank you for coming on the show today and being so brave to tell us, Slavi. And thank you, Dick, for having us.
Thanks so much, Claire. That was a great wrap up. Commander Macmillan, please go ahead with your final thoughts.
My usual, which is urging everybody to correspond with their elected officials. Keep applying pressure to say Ukraine is important. We need to continue supporting them. Given the fact that we're seeing increasingly large numbers of even Republicans starting to come out in protest the actions of the administration, this kind of letter, email, phone call activity to your elected official, even if they're from a red state, will still have some potential impact because they're feeling the pressure right now. So that's a good thing to keep doing.
Absolutely. Ivan, please go ahead with your final thoughts.
Yeah, I would just say, guys, whoever is watching it, do something. You know, you have a lot of weapons in your arsenal. It's follow the Commander Macmillan's advice. Talk to your representative. If you cannot do that, or for some reason don't want to do that, you know, spread the word about what happened in Ukraine. Spread the word about all the atrocities that are happening here. If you have some spare income, you could donate and you can support the campaigns. Please do, because our soldiers are the ones who are holding Russia from getting into Europe. And if they get into Europe, if the war breaks out into entire Europe, then there will be worse crisis. This is just the warm up compared to what will happen. So we need to stop those guys there and to get back to normal. I don't know. I live this life not that many years, but COVID, war, another war, revolution, another revolution. I don't know when that normal will come.
Hopefully soon. Hopefully soon.
Do guys, act in any way you see fit.
Thanks so much, Ivan. That was a great wrap up. And we are emerging in new times, but to get that peace, we have to put some work into it. So guys, please donate. Please use your social currency. That's a big one. And it's for free. And you can do it so much because that's important. Share Ukrainian stories. If you can't donate, share the links to donate.
Yes.
Because you never know from your followers who will want to donate as well. So please, please, please do your due diligence. Ukraine isn't just fighting for its survival, it's standing where freedom holds the line. And when we stand with them, we're defending the liberty that lives in every American heart. These are times unlike any before, and we must choose unity. We must choose courage. And above all, we must choose each other. Because if freedom falls there, it falters everywhere. So stand up, speak out, stay human. God bless America, and Slava Ukraini.
Well said. Well said. Thanks for the help, everybody. Thanks for the donations. Thank you for supporting Ukraine. We'll be sending off everything that came in direct as soon as the show is done. Thanks to everybody that joined us today. Like everybody said, just use your social currency. I love that phrase. And, spread the word. Get it out there. We got to thank our team. We've got Annette, Shayna Caldwell, PJ CNET, Chris Lundy, Mexi Girl, Carpazian, the AI Alchemist, Liam Wakefield, and, of course, Super Chat Matt. And give yourselves a pat in the back just for, being here and making sure that you show your support. We'll be back next week. We'll be doing more Car for Ukraine hangout and whatnot, trying to get more cash into the fundraiser. And a last little shout out as we get out of here. Slava Ukraine from Carl Gustav. And that's a $50 direct donation into the pot. Big shout, Carl. Thank you very much. Awesome. I think on that note, we're done. 2 words, everybody. Slava Ukraine.
Slava Ukraine. Slava.
Well said. Take care, everybody. See you soon.
It's over. Go home. Go.